We are live on Instagram. We are live on Facebook. My name is Dustin Jones, and welcome to the PT on Ice Daily Show, brought to you by the Institute of Clinical Excellence. And welcome, podcast listeners, as well. We appreciate y'all tuning in on your commute or walk or run or whatever it may be. So today is Thursday. That means it is Leadership Thursday here on the PT on Ice Daily Show. Typically, you're going to hear from the CEO, Jeff Moore, COO, Alan Fredendahl, but I'm going to take the mic today as I wanted to share something I've been thinking about. And this episode is going to be titled, Give the Grave Only Bones. Give the Grave Only Bones. Before we get into the content, I do want to mention a few announcements here. The big one is that it is Gut Check Thursday. Every Thursday, right? Alan or maybe someone else writes a workout that we all do together as a community, just a way to test your fitness, your character, your mental fortitude, if you will. All post our scores and participate across the globe, which is really cool. This week is going to be something a little bit different because it's a very special week. We are going to be doing a memorial workout honoring Ernie Peralt, aka at 99 years young. So if you've taken any of the modern management of the older adult curriculum that I teach with Christine, you've heard about Ernie. Ernie is an amazing individual that really embodies a lot of the things that we talk about in terms of positive age stereotypes and lifestyle behaviors that we want people to have for decades and decades and decades, and what that can actually result in, which is a beautiful thing. And Ernie really embodied that. Well, Ernie passed away at the beginning of February, and we wanted to honor him with something that he loved to do almost every single day, and that is a workout. So we're going to be doing a 9-minute AMRAP of 9 air squats, 9 burpees, 9 push-ups, and 9 sit-ups. So this is an equipment-free bodyweight workout that we would love for you all to join. And we will be doing this together via Zoom tonight. That's Thursday, April 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be doing this together. It looks like there's going to be a bunch of people that have taken the MOA courses and then ICE students, but this is open to the public. Check out, there's a Facebook event that has that link, or you can shoot us a DM if you're on Instagram, and I'll be sure to paste all these links on the Facebook video. There's also a link that went out in yesterday's Hump Day Hustle as well, so you can get that information. We'd love for y'all to join tonight. Very accessible workout, so if you typically don't do Gut Check Thursdays, this will be a perfect one to join and hop in on. Second thing is we got a bunch of courses coming up, a bunch of in-person courses over next weekend, not this weekend because it's Easter, but the 10th and 11th and the 17th and the 18th. 10th and 11th, lumbars in Miami, extremity management's up in Fenton, cervical spine is in North Carolina. Then the following weekend, the 17th and 18th, cervical spine's in Phoenix, MOA is up in Victor, New York, fitness athlete's going to be in Virginia, and then lumbar is going to be in Hendersonville, Tennessee with the Morgans. Also, our online courses are going to be firing up as well. April 5th, so coming up pretty soon, is primary care PT. April 11th, fitness athlete advanced concepts. April 12th will be persistent pain. And then MOA Essential Foundations is going to be on April 28th. That one is already over 50% full, so that one will likely sell out. So that's it for announcements. Let's get into the goods for today, shall we? So the title, once again, Give the Grave Only Bones. We want to really frame this to be helpful, but also reflective. So I hope this will get you thinking, will cause a little bit of a pause throughout your day, and to think about what I'm going to speak to, and then also what I'm going to read. So a lot of this stems from some recent life events for me that have been, just challenging. We've had in the Jones household, we've had a new addition. So we've have a baby boy named Wes Edmund Jones, who we're just obsessed with and just very happy to have in our home. And that's been an amazing transition. So we've been able to spend a lot of time together. But with that transition with that new life has also come death. So I've lost a very, very close family friend a couple weeks ago, and the funeral was this past weekend. And so I went home just for the day to go to this funeral as a pallbearer. And we buried this individual in a cemetery that has a whole bunch of people in my family. So I grew up, I can remember as early as 4 years old, going to a funeral and going to this particular cemetery. It's in South Point, Ohio, basically the most southern point of Ohio. And so we were at this funeral service, And walking, we had a pretty long walk with the casket up this hillside, and just passing tombstone after tombstone after tombstone, looking at these names. Some of these names I knew personally, and saw their birth date and saw when they passed away. And it really was an interesting moment. And I don't know if some of you all have had some of these moments before, but typically I've found them either at a funeral, but then also whenever you're just walking through a cemetery. If any of you all take leisurely walks through cemeteries, sometimes cemeteries are going to be the most beautiful public spaces in a lot of cities. But it's an interesting dynamic, right? Because you are looking at these tombstones, looking at people that their lives have ended, and you are faced with this perspective of your mortality, that Father Time is undefeated and you are going to pass away at some point. It's very interesting too when you think about some of these individuals, like in Lexington, for example, the Lexington Cemetery. We've got some pretty epic individuals buried in that cemetery. Some people that have led some amazing, probably controversial lives, but have had a huge impact, and some that have done some amazing things, but have been forgotten over time. And it really puts perspective of your life and your issues and your problems, and how, in reality, how small we are in the grand scheme of things, which can be rather humbling. I think that's actually healthy, especially within our culture, where we're often ignoring the fact that Father Time is undefeated. We often put ourselves at the center of the world, and our issues become bigger and bigger and bigger, and more than what they need to be. And we often become so self-focused that we lose perspective of others and kind of where we fit in the grand scheme of things. So I think that's helpful, but it can be challenging, right? When you are faced with your mortality, you take that difficulty of what you're reflecting on, and then at the same moment, you also have a reflection of, wow, what an amazing opportunity I have with this life that I've been given. What am I going to do with it? You have this one opportunity, right? And it is going to end. Father Time is undefeated. The clock is ticking as we speak. What are you doing with that time? What are you going to do with this one life that you've been given? And it made me think of this piece written by John Acuff called "Give the Grave Only Bones." So I'm going to read this to you, and I'm going to pick this apart and then just give some of my personal reflections, but knowing that my reflections and what I take away from this is going to be completely different from what you'll take away with. And I think that's the important part. But I want to share my reflections in the event that it could potentially be helpful or thought-provoking for you. So Give the Grave Only Bones. I'll paste a link on the Facebook video for those that want to look at this, and then I'll share, this is an Instagram post as well. I'll share that on the ICE account. If at the end of my life, the only thing I've accomplished is a comfortable life, my days have been wasted. If at the end of my life, the only thing I've fought for is my own name, my days have been wasted. If at the end of my life, the only thing I've stood for is my own reputation, my days have been wasted. If at the end of my life, the only thing I've traded are works for rewards, my days have been wasted. May we not go to the grave quietly. May we not make refuse of the gifts we've been given. Arrive empty to the grave, having given all you were given, stewarded all you were tasked with. Give the grave only bones. Man, gosh, that hits hard. That hits hard. I won't read it again. You can hit rewind. But I want you to take some time and digest some of those words. Here's some of the things that really hit hard for me. So for my reflections, the first thing that comes out to me, that speaks to me, is what is considered wasteful in this piece. What is considered wasteful? The first thing that you realize is that building up your name and your reputation is considered wasteful. I'll read those two lines again. If at the end of my life, the only thing I've fought for is my own name, my days have been wasted. If at the end of my life, the only thing I've stood for is my own reputation, my days have been wasted. Now, you think about that, and some of the themes that we're seeing kind of in culture and even our profession is that many individuals are making all their decisions in their entire life revolving around themselves, their reputation, and kind of they're at the center of that world. And not to say that's the worst thing in the world. However, there may be a better option. And when I think about this in this poem, and especially some of the individuals that I've got to spend time with, especially towards the end of their life, some of the most happy, content individuals, especially literally laying on their deathbed, have been those that have not lifted their name up or their reputation, but they've been concerned more about others, other people, or another cause. And so I think we need to think about that. We want to fight for a cause, something that we care about, something that we're passionate about, more so than our own name and our own reputation. And this has been a tough lesson to learn for me, and it's taken a lot of time. But for me, that cause is trying to advance care for older adults. That is what I want to happen. And I don't really care. I care to some extent. On a good day, I don't care. On a bad day, I care too much. But I don't care so much about my name and my reputation. I want to care more about advancing care for older adults in that cause. And this is a constant struggle, right? It's not going to be like, all right, I'm good. I don't care about my name and my reputation. I just care about this mission that I'm on. It's a roller coaster. It comes and goes and comes and goes, and you have to recalibrate. So build up your name and reputation is considered wasteful. Here's the other thing. Comfort and rewards was considered wasteful as well. So I'll read those two parts. If at the end of my life, the only thing I've accomplished is a comfortable life, my days have been wasted. If at the end of my life, the only thing I've traded are works for rewards, my days have been wasted. And this makes me think of a line that I would hear all the time from many of my patients, especially in home health. The first time I heard it was in a skilled nursing facility in Romney, West Virginia. And one of my patients said, "You never see a U-Haul behind a hearse." And this was interesting, especially in the context of a skilled nursing facility, because many of those individuals that have been there for a long time or going to be there for a long time, literally everything has been stripped from them in terms of possessions, in terms of things, keepsakes, memories, their house, and sometimes choices and dignity, which is not a great thing. You should listen to Christina Previtt's episode yesterday. But they had been stripped of all these rewards, if you will, and these comforts and these material goods, and they're left with the life that they have, the memories that they have, and the people around them. And many of them were reflecting on how those things, those material things, were not they did not equal happiness or being content at the end of your life. You never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. And so if we're chasing comfort, if we're chasing some of these rewards and things, that may be a waste of your time and effort. So that's the first thing. What is considered wasteful? Read those lines. Think about your life, where you're spending your time. Are you wasting your time in this precious life on building up your name and your reputation, or seeking comfort, or seeking rewards and material things? We should think about that because it may be a waste of time. The second thing I want to mention here is that the big theme about this whole piece is that life is about giving. The last line hits hard, right? Arrive empty to the grave, having given all you were given, stewarded all you were tasked with. Give the grave only bones. Now, the difficult part with thinking about that line is that it's going to look different for each person. How you steward your gifts, your resources, your time, your energy, your finances, all those things is going to look different. And this is something that I struggle with tremendously. And many of you all may be able to relate to this, because when I think about this right here, it can be rather unclear of how you are to steward what you've been given. And it takes time, honestly. I've gained a little more clarity in my life just over time and experiences, but I think especially for the new grads and maybe the students that are watching this or listening this, you need to have that perspective. It's going to take some time to gain some clarity, but you also need to value your bad experiences along with your good ones. There is equal value in knowing what you don't want to do as knowing what you want to do. This will speak to you all that are on clinical rotation right now, doing the SNF rotation or an acute care or even outpatient, whatever rotation it is, that you're miserable. You hate it. You're not enjoying yourself. You feel like it's a waste of time. I've been there. I had probably 2 or 3 rotations where I felt that. Those are extremely valuable because you are becoming very, very clear on what you do not want to do. And that is just as valuable as gaining clarity on what you want to do. Don't forget that. It's not easy, but that is very, very valuable. But it's going to look different for each person, right, in terms of stewarding this life. And it's difficult in the context, especially of our culture, when we have this obsession with, running your own business and being an entrepreneur and doing all the things and being busy, 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 busy. And that can put yourself in a very difficult situation. I think about this with some of my friends, my colleagues, my bosses, people that I respect the most. I think of someone like Jeff Moore, the CEO of the Institute of Clinical Excellence. You all know his schedule. You've seen him travel across the country weekends and weekends on end. Sometimes he'll be home for a matter of 2 days. He's always on the go. He's involved in Onward and South and running the Institute of Clinical Excellence, all the things, right? That's amazing. He's absolutely transforming our profession. But if I were put in Jeff's role, I would not be able to perform at his level, but I would probably be miserable, and the people around me would be miserable as well. But it works for him and his crew. Alan Frendall is another one. You all have likely seen a screenshot of his calendar, and you've probably vomited in your mouth. It's working for him, and he is absolutely changing lives in Fenton, Michigan, and absolutely changing lives with the Institute of Clinical Excellence. But if I were in his position and my family had that schedule, that would not be a great thing. Christina Previtt's another one, very prolific individual doing all the things, and I respect these people tremendously. However, for me, and maybe many of you all, we may not necessarily want to put what they're doing on a pedestal per se and think that is the script. That is the life I need to live, because that may not be the case. And you need to know how you want to steward your gifts and your time. It makes me think of some other individuals that I respect tremendously that are very different from the Jeffs, the Allens, the Christinas. I think about my buddy Ryan Cook. Ryan Cook is my running buddy here in Lexington, Kentucky. We do all the trail ultra marathoners. Big gardener, he has a slower pace of life, which I can appreciate. But he works at a women's domestic abuse shelter called Greenhouse 17, where he is leading those individuals that are caring for these women and children in these very difficult, heartbreaking situations. It's not a glamorous job. He's not an entrepreneur. He's not running his business. He's not even on social media. But when I think about Give the Grave Only Bones, he is absolutely sending it. He is stewarding the gifts that he's been given in such a beautiful way and impacting these lives in such a tremendous way. He's not building up his name or reputation, but he's just giving himself, and he will be able to say he gave the grave only bones. Very different, right, from some other individuals or someone that's a high-profile entrepreneur, but very, very respectable. I think about the Davises in Columbus, Ohio, very good friends of mine that have chosen to spend more time with their family, to be at home, to raise their 3 children, and then adopt another one and be very community focused on their block in Columbus, Ohio, in the Wyland Park neighborhood. They're not entrepreneurs, they're not busy, go, doing all the things. However, they will be able to say they gave the grave only bones. And last but not least, another example that may be very different than what we highlight and kind of honor or worship in our culture is Ernie Peralt, at 99 years young. He can definitely say, and his family would say this too, that he gave the grave only bones, that he gave it all, whether it was his workouts, whether it was influencing all of us on Instagram or social media, that he absolutely sent it, that he arrived empty to the grave and impacted so many of us in a rather beautiful way. And I can't think of a better way to wrap this up than to speak to Ernie and then invite you all to the gut check tonight, Thursday, April 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to honor Ernie. We're going to give it our all. We're going to give the grave only bones, if you will, with this workout, and absolutely send it for 9 minutes in honor of Ernie Peralt, at 99 years young. Hit me up with a DM on my account or the ICE account, and we'll make sure you get that Zoom link so you can join. So I want to read this one more time, this piece, just to really hammer it home. You all need to really think, we all need to think about this. What does it look like to give the grave only bones? And to know it's going to be different for each person, and we're constantly going to be thinking about this and trying to figure this out. John Acuff, thank you, sir, for writing this. If at the end of my life, the only thing I've accomplished is a comfortable life, my days have been wasted. If at the end of my life, the only thing I've fought for is my own name, my days have been wasted. If at the end of my life, the only thing I've stood for is my own reputation, my days have been wasted. If at the end of my life, the only thing I've traded are works for rewards, my days have been wasted. May we not go to the grave quietly. May we not make refuse of the gifts we've been given, arrive empty to the grave, having given all you were given, stewarded all you were tasked with, give the grave only bones. You all have a lovely Thursday. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.